Good evening, Yorktown, and welcome to the Town Board meeting for March 1st, 2022. If everyone could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Sorry.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we have for our moment of silence, we're going to welcome Rabbi Haber of Chabad of Yorktown and Father Corrado of Seton, Elizabeth Ann Seton, for a special moment of silence. Would you please take the podium? Yes.
I'm going to do a prayer. Ribon Ha'olamim, Sovereign of the universe, who hearkens to our prayers. We stand before you in solidarity with all who are enduring the darkness of human conflict in Ukraine. May you protect all innocent men, women, and children at this moment of great peril for them, their country, and the world. Bring fortitude to the vulnerable, resilience to the insecure, and protection to those who live in danger. Incline the hearts of national leaders towards peace and reconciliation, and bless them with the wisdom, vision, and perseverance needed to end this war and restore peace to the region. Almighty God, strengthen the hands of those who pursue peace, not war. Bring harmony where there is hostility, relief where there is pain, and hope where there is despair. Protect the sanctity of human life, that it not be sacrificed on the altar of government agendas. May humanists prevail over tyranny, and peace prevail over conflict. May we merit to see the day when, in the words of the prophet Isaiah, they shall beat their swords into plowshares. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. May he who makes peace in the heavens make peace for all on earth. May this be your will, and let us say, Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Rabbi. Father, prayer as well.
Let us pray. Comfort, comfort my people, says your God. Eternal Father, amid the fear encircling our world, bring comfort and calm. Help us to remain steadfast in faith. May we put aside all partisan thinking, focusing our thoughts on all people throughout the world who are hurting and in harm's way. Bless and protect our troops here and abroad, and all of our first responders who sacrifice themselves each and every day for our safety and well-being. In this time of great worry, we fervently pray for divine protection upon the people of Ukraine. Grant world leaders wisdom and prudence to work together for an end to all violence. May the Ukrainian people have the strength and perseverance to defend their land from all adversity and Russian aggression. Help us all to live according to your divine will. And in the days to come, we beseech you to comfort the suffering, heal the wounded, and accept the souls of the faithful departed into your heavenly kingdom. Amen.
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 Thank you.
Thank you, Father. Thank you, Rabbi.
And I want to thank Councilman Diana for arranging them today. Do you want to say a few words, Councilman?
In this troubled time that we're in, I thought it only appropriate that we do a special prayer for the people of Ukraine and the fighting people that defend our freedom in this country every day. We can only pray that this does not touch our soils. Thank you.
So why don't we have a moment of silence for all those defending freedom across the globe? Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you, Councilman. Thank you both. Thank you. No, that's always something I always thought would be great, is every one of our town board meetings
To
have one of our members of the clergy
come and
join us. I mean, we've got a great interfaith council and lead us in prayer, and
yeah,
we all know we need it. We all know this world needs it.
it's a mouthful.
That is. We'll do introductions. We'll start on my right.
Good evening, Town Clerk Diana Quast.
Good evening, Deputy Supervisor Councilman Tom Diana.
Town Supervisor Matt Slater.
Councilman Ed Lachman.
Sergio Esposito, Councilman.
Good evening, Luciana Howard, Councilwoman.
Good evening, Adam Rodriguez, Town Attorney.
We're also joined by Maura Weissleader, our Deputy Town Clerk as well. We have just a couple of things to report. Obviously, on the COVID side, we've continued to make fantastic progress. Starting tomorrow, the state will be lifting its mask mandate. I know that many educators and parents are very excited for us to be at this point. We do ask, though, once again, as a community, that we respect everyone's decisions. Everyone's decisions, whether to wear a mask or not to wear a mask, that is their individual choice. That is the parental choice of my fellow parents. And so whether they are walking into school or walking into a business with or without a mask, we just once again ask for respect for everybody. An update on our petition regarding the Con Ed rate hike, proposed rate hike. At this point, our petition, which is found online, has over 450 people who have signed it. Earlier today, the Attorney General of the State of New York followed up with additional actions specifically focused on Con Edison, specifically on their billing and on the rate hikes that Con Ed customers have seen both here in Westchester County and in New York City. For our water bills and sewer bills, I just want to remind folks, for those who have unpaid water and sewer bills, we will be re-levying those unpaid bills. This is standard process, standard procedure the town has done. And so if you have not paid your water or sewer bills, it will be added on to your taxes. If you have any questions, please reach out to the Northern Westchester Joint Waterworks. You can email them directly at billing@nwjww.com. And I know that the town clerk is putting a notice in our local papers as well on this matter. Some updates from our Parks and Rec Department. Happy to report that our senior clubs are back in action. This is great, as well as, of course, our Senior Nutrition Center. Our senior clubs, for those who are interested, the Shrub Oak Seniors meet on Monday, the Chapter 1 Seniors on Tuesdays, and the AARP Senior Group is on Wednesdays. All of them meet at the Albert A. Capellini Community and Cultural Center. Jim, what time do they normally begin? I think it's 11 a.m.?
Monday and Tuesday is at 10.
Excuse me, 10 a.m. on Monday and Tuesday.
And the AARP is 2 o'clock.
And AARP is at 2 o'clock.
Wednesday of each month.
Thank you. Second Wednesday of each month. And also the spring and summer brochure from Parks and Rec is due out March 15th. And we're looking forward to a normal summer with our pools and our camps and our normal summer activities back in action here in the town of Yorktown. I did want to let the residents know and the board know that as joining my fellow supervisors from the Westchester Putnam Association of Town Supervisors, we have sent a letter up to the DEC that I have signed along with a number of other supervisors requesting that the DEC extend the comment period for the draft Speedies general permit to April 15th of 2022. This is a significant process for all of our municipalities, and a review by some of the towns in our association showed that the expected cost per town to fulfill the requirements will exceed $1 million over a 5-year period. So this is something that municipalities across our region, in the East of Hudson watershed specifically, as it relates to the MS4 mandate, are dealing with. We've done this before especially within our region. And so this is a typical process, but important for us to keep a very close eye on it because of the fiscal implications that it may have on our community. I also wanted to let the public know that our engineering department is putting forward an application to be one of 50 municipalities to work with the DEC as it relates to implementing an asset management program for our water withdrawal reporting and technical assistance to protect drinking water. So that is an application that our town engineer, Dan Ciarcia, and his staff are working diligently on. I think it's going to be a great benefit to the community, a great benefit to their department, and we hope to be one of those 50 communities in the state of New York who are selected. And then lastly, I want to let everyone know we passed a resolution, and we talked about it briefly, I think it was last week, in regards to the Low-Income Household Water Assistance Program. The town did pass a resolution to allow those who are in need to participate. This can be found, we're going to put this up on our town website, but eligibility and benefits are based on income. The benefits are based on the actual amount of drinking water and or wastewater, up to a maximum of $2,500 per drinking water or wastewater provider, or $5,000 if drinking water and wastewater services are combined per household. So for those who are struggling to pay these bills, there is assistance out there provided by the state of New York, and the town did pass the necessary resolution so that those who do need this assistance can seek it. Again, this is from the state of New York. Once again, eligibility and benefits are based on income, household size. Household includes a U.S. citizen, a U.S. national, or qualified individual, and an amount owed to the drinking water and or wastewater providers. All this information, again, will be found on the town's website, and it's provided by the Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance. And I just want to make sure there was nothing else that I left off. And I think that concludes my report to the town. I will turn it over to our Deputy Supervisor, Tom Diana.
Thank you, Supervisor. Just to echo the Supervisor, please, folks, now that we do have the masks, don't have to wear the masks. Please, no mask shaming. You know, people will either wear them or they won't. So if you see somebody that does, that's fine, and if you see somebody that doesn't, that's fine too.
Right.
Okay. Our kids, I guess, tomorrow are going to be allowed to breathe again. I can remember the supervisor talking about Charlie out playing soccer in 100-degree temperature wearing the mask.
Yeah.
And all I could say was, that's cruel. We don't put a muzzle on our dog in that kind of temperature, you know. Yeah. So this is it's a great thing. We're on the mend, folks, and this is how we want to keep it. Just as a point of interest, as many of you know, I'm in the oil business, but oil prices to me went up 20 cents today per gallon.
Wow.
Okay, so if you folks are on an oil burner, you may want to talk to your providers about getting put on a budget plan, because they're not going to start going down anytime too soon. Okay, so just a little economic thing that I wanted to put out there to the residents of the town of Yorktown. And we do actually have the oil program here.
I just brought it up to remind everyone we do have the Yorktown Heating Oil Plan.
Yep.
That residents can contact our office, the supervisor's office, at 914-962-5722, extension 200, and the staff will gladly assist you in understanding what the program is and how to get a list of the participating companies in the Yorktown Home Heating Oil Plan.
It's $107 or $108 a barrel at this point. As I checked the computer as I left the house. So just a little point of interest to everybody that they may want to check into. Monday we had gone down to White Fir Farm. Oh my God, folks! If you get the chance, it's a place to visit. It's where they make the maple syrup. I wanted pancakes. Right then and there, I wanted to have pancakes. And all you could do is walk into the building and kind of quaff the smell to you.
Yeah.
And it was like cotton candy in the air. It was wonderful. They not only do that, but they actually have a working sawmill there where they make a lot of lumber for a lot of interesting projects.
Yep.
On the there's going to be a Maple Weekend,
March 19th.
March 19th and 20th, correct?
And the following week as well,
And then the following week as well,
which is the 26th and 27th.
26th and 27th, in conjunction with the Grange Fair, who is having a pancake breakfast, where you'll be able to taste test some of these great maple syrup. I'll tell you, it was very interesting. They use every piece of wood that they can't mill is used to fire their kettles to make this, and to see the way they get the sap down to the kettles through all this tubing, and I forget the amount of tubing.
15,000.
15 miles.
15 miles of
15 miles
tubing,
worth of tubing.
that goes back up
Thought he said 15,000.
onto where Loch Ledge
of
used to
miles.
be. So it's a very interesting place, great place. I bought 2 bottles of syrup for me because I'm a maple syrup kind of guy.
But you know what else they have there? That's my favorite.
What's that?
The honey.
Oh, yes, I forgot about that.
Forgot about the fresh honey.
Yep, so they have honey there also. So 19th and 20th of March is the weekend for the Maple Fest, as I'm going to call it.
Yep.
And also the, what was it, the 26th and 27th.
Yep.
Will also be another Maple Fest weekend. So,
Two seatings each day, 9 a.m. and 10:30. Children 3 to 12, $10. Adults, $20. And children under 3 are free. So
Elizabeth's in for free.
good.
And-
But she can probably eat more than any of us, so it's okay.
and Ed's going to be cooking.
Yeah.
Well,
Are you?
on the 26th.
I thought you
the
got the
Lions,
pass.
the
Yep.
Lions are doing the 26th.
Oh, there you go.
And if they need anyone, I'll come in and do it.
Yep. The other thing about White Oak, Councilman Diana, that I think I really want to press is White Oak Farm. So Maple Syrup Weekend is a statewide event hosted by the Maple Syrup Association of the state of New York. And White Oak Farm is the most southern commercial producer of maple syrup in the entire state of New York. And it's the only commercial producer of maple syrup, and it's right here right here in our backyard in Yorktown. And it's just a fantastic gem.
Yeah, if you don't know where it is, you'll pass the sign. Go down to the end of 118, make a right, and it's about
Right there.
100 feet up on the right.
Yep.
So it's around the corner. It's great time, great place to go.
And the other thing about Maple Weekend, or Maple Month, I guess, as it's turning into, is our friends over at Furcy's.
I was just going to say that. You missed the best part.
You go for it.
They
They're small
got,
business advocates.
let's see, they got shrimp and scallops wrapped in bacon and dipped in maple syrup. And they're getting everything locally. So the Grange is getting involved. White Oak Farm is getting involved. Furcy's is involved. They're getting bacon from Hemlock Hill.
Bacon from
Yep.
Hemlock Hill.
All right. And we had
The best bacon you can find.
It's
Hands down,
unbelievable.
the best bacon
And
you can find.
Thompson's and Thompson Cider Mill is providing some stuff. So it's a really great way to support the local community and get some good food.
And anybody that's dieting,
Ed might cook.
anybody's dieting, that dish that Sergio just talked about is fat-free, guilt-free, and calorie-free. Okay?
And we're going to pass a resolution tonight about for the shrimp and scallops, right?
Oh, that's
we're,
right.
We're passing a
That's
resolution.
right.
That's right.
That's right.
Thank you. I'm done.
All right. Councilman Lachterman. Now that Maple Weekend was thoroughly covered.
Yes, Maple Weekend is thoroughly
I know.
covered.
We don't have to
Although
go
you
there.
didn't mention the maple bourbon that they're going to be doing at Furcy's.
I was doing that for you. I know that's
There
your
you go.
Just pick it. I'll
Yeah,
make it
maple
work.
bourbon old fashioned. I like the sound of it. So a couple of other things coming up on Sunday, March 13th. The Sons of the American Legion are doing their corned beef and cabbage fundraiser. Special thanks to Chef Rob on Wheels, Rob Del Balzo, who'll be helping with the cooking on that. There's corned beef dinners available, single or family style, some great homemade Irish soda bread. So it's really, really good fundraiser for veteran services. It's Sunday, March 13th. It's a pick-up and take home, and it'll be running. The pickups will be between 12 and 3. You could find out more information on the website, which is sal1009ny.org. So sal1009ny.org. The Lions will be having a new event this year. They are going to celebrate the greatest 2 minutes in sports and do a Kentucky Derby party.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah, that'll be on May 7th. at the American Legion Hall on Veterans Road. There'll be food, there'll be drinks, and there'll be games. And 2 opportunities, I believe, to win some time in a cash cube.
Whoa.
Yeah. So that's
Those are fun.
that's
They have a
amazing.
cash cube there?
The
Yeah.
cash cube would be there.
Really?
Yep.
You just stand in it and
Yep.
grab what you can grab.
Yep. So I think each time there'll be a fresh $1,000 put into the cash cube.
Wow.
So fun.
So yeah. So that sounds like a really fun thing.
I'd lose. I wouldn't get
Probably.
one. You'd win, Ed.
I doubt it. So then, you can find if you look up Yorktown Lions New York, you can find their webpage. There should be more information coming on that. The Lions are also doing a golf outing on June 6th, and the concert series will start June 28th with a really nice lineup this year. So lot coming from the Lions. And if you do want any more information on Maple Weekend and to purchase tickets, you could go on to the Yorktown Grange site, which is yorktowngrange.org. So you could get on that and sign up for your tickets right online. Apparently, they've done a great job at the reservation system for it and making sure you could get everything there.
Mm-hmm.
And
Thank you, sir. Pass it down the line.
actually, I will. I know they left, but I thank the rabbi and father for the
Very nice prayer.
very nice prayers. My goddaughter's family is in Odessa, so we pray for them daily, and it's a scary situation out there. So
Yes, it
Crazy
is.
world.
yeah.
Councilman Esposito, floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. I want to send out a special heartfelt thank you to all who came and supported the inauguration of the elected officials on February 27, 2022. It was truly heartwarming, and we really all appreciated it. Special thanks to Chris Muggio and the awesome scouts from Troop 173. Called them at the last minute. They went, they practiced the presentation of the colors, and knocked it out of the park, I think,
Great.
on that day. Anthony Grasso, everybody knows Tony, everybody loves Tony for leading us in the pledge. Nomi Cohen for her beautiful rendition of the national anthem. She played the elbow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Our poet laureate, that was pretty good. I liked it. I liked the ending, by the way. John F. McMullen and Peter and Lucia Carucci for their awesome rendition of God Bless America. Also want to thank Yehuda Haber, Rabbi Haber, and our resident American Legion chaplain. You tell him
Paul
I mentioned
Martin.
his name. Paul R. Martin the third.
There you
Third. I also
From
wanted to
Somers, right?
from Somers. Yeah, that was the joke. And what was the hashtag? Watch the last step.
Yeah,
Watch the top step.
Watch the top
Watch
step.
Top Step.
We got to get a new stage, Jimmy. So he's like, yeah, go ahead. Also wanted to thank Parks and Rec and everybody that contributed
was awesome. Thank
to
you.
that.
And,
And one last thank you. Our resident MC here, Ed Largman, who really did a great job. Congratulations to Councilwoman Luciana Howitt, Supervisor Matt Slater, Highway Superintendent Dave Paganelli, and Town Justice Davia Cohen Pearson. We got a big announcement.
Congratulations to you as well, Councilman
you.
Sergio Esposito.
A big announcement. Tommy, you're going to like this. There's a local business, Lakeland Lumber in
Yeah.
Shrub Oak. 100 years in business.
Yeah.
100 years in business. So we're going to do something for them, and I'm going to be going out there, and we'll do some kind of a ribbon cutting. So everybody's more than welcome. Everybody's
cuttings.
once in a while. I got big scissors.
So do you say open for business or still in business this time?
Still open for business.
Yeah, I guess that's how you would say it.
Little hashtag still open
And actually,
for business.
I just want for the
That'd be
record, I believe
I like it.
I believe Tommy Diana has been shopping at Lakeland Lumber for 98 of those 100 years.
Almost.
Almost.
But just on a side note from that, I don't want to steal time from Sergio. Actually, Lakeland Lumber used to be Shrub Oak Cement Block Works, and that was owned by my family.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah,
That's
many,
so cool.
many years ago.
Oh, no
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So April 23rd is the Yorktown Chamber Home and Lifestyles Expo. It's at the Jefferson Valley Mall or the Valley. There are still, plenty of people that are signing up, so it's going to be a nice event. And I do have 15,000 miles of tubing, but I think that's a little excessive.
15,000 miles, yeah, that's a little much.
Aggressive than 15.
If you're in need of anything, you're having an issue, you got a concern, and you would like to shout out your business, just contact me at any time. My door's always open, and I'm ready, willing, and able to listen and help. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. And last but not least, Councilwoman Howitt.
Being last but not least, I guess I get to echo everything that you guys all just said. And also, I do want to share my thanks to the moment of silence, our prayers, and also the amount of community togetherness that I got to see on our inauguration. It was just so nice to see people come together indoors. Since last week and today, the world's shifted seismically with this Ukraine's frightening situation. Uncertainty can bring up trauma and stress, but support is available, not just from the others, but within ourselves. It has been inspiring to see the courage of the Ukraine people and the leadership standing up for their values and beliefs, particularly in the face of attack and oppression. As the calendar shifts from Black History Month to Women's History Month, we are being called to support true freedom and empowerment as inalienable rights that are more important than ever. It is important that we stand united through all of these wonderful changes. So happy March, happy no mask, and happy togetherness.
Thank you very much. Excellent. All right, and with that, we're going to forgo the report from the highway superintendent.
No more snow?
Let's not jinx it. And we will welcome our poet laureate, John McMullen. John.
Yes.
You may remember my act with the T-shirt as the thing with the poet. This is New York tough, but there should be T-shirts that say Ukraine tough, and
Yeah,
there should be
absolutely.
all of them. Yeah. I'm going to read the same poem because I want to get it onto the video. So, and some of these people may not have heard it. Democracy. In the United States, we live in a representative democracy and have elections every 2 or 4 or 6 years. After most elections, we send the winners off to remote places, Washington, Albany, White Plains, to make decisions for us, decisions that we will read about in newspapers. In the town of Yorktown, we pick winners from candidates who are our neighbors and who may have won by tiny vote margins, as Eddie told me. Then we send off to our local town hall, no more than 10 minutes from our homes to do the town's business. Town hall, the place where we can come to meet with public officials and make our voices heard. Public town board meetings, planning work session, discussion with other town folks. We can also write letters, make phone calls, go to public functions. And we get answers. Local papers report on meetings. Email alerts come from City Hall. Meetings and special announcements are televised. These elected officials make decisions that affect our daily lives, zoning, park maintenance, road repair, and larger issues, how to attract and keep business in a town, direction of the town, semi-rural or suburban. That's what they do. Now, what do you do?
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
I also, just before we move on to our next item, want to welcome Jessica. Forgive me for butchering your name. Einters? Did I say that right?
Yeah.
A new reporter from Halston Media covering the town board tonight. So, Jessica, welcome. I know it's your first meeting, but we're thrilled to have you here. Thank you so much for covering.
So how do we pronounce your name?
So how did I? Yeah, give me the last name.
How bad did he do? Was he?
Einters. All right. I wasn't
Einters.
that bad. I did pretty good.
No, you did
Don't
all
worry,
right.
this is
You
our
did all
first
right.
He did
board
better with
meeting.
your name today than he did with my name earlier.
Ever.
That's like you. How?
Well, welcome.
She's
Einters.
I turn, and I am how it.
There you go.
See? Gotta phonetically
Yeah, but
do
what's
it.
all those other letters?
We don't know.
They're all silent. Don't worry.
They're just all silent.
Yeah, just leave them alone.
All right, we're going to convene a public hearing regarding Chapter 108 of the Code of the Town of Yorktown entitled Alcoholic Beverages. We're going to show the notice. You have the notice?
Oh, I forgot my folder.
Where is it, Diana?
More? Can you grab my folder for...
We're going to just grab the folder. We're going to have our Parks and Rec Superintendent, Jim Moderano, up to the podium first.
With no alcoholic beverage, please, Jim.
While we get the notice, Jim, do you just want to just give us a high-level review, just to remind the public about what this attempts to do?
Yeah. I just want to be very clear. This does not mean that we can have alcohol in all of our parks. That's not what we're looking to do here. There are 4 locations in town where alcohol consumption could be thought of, and under the certain guidance through the town clerk and through myself, allow permitting for use of alcohol. One, the par 3 golf course, clearly that seems like an appropriate place to potentially have alcohol consumption. The other, Railroad Park, where we do have a number of events with the town. So that's another location. By permit only for specific residents. The Sparkle Lake Service Building, where we have a bunch of family functions. People often request this, but we have to deny them, sadly. And the last one would be Downing Park, where similar residents come and request space for their family reunions and things of that nature, and they do request alcohol consumption, but we've had to deny them in the past.
Yeah,
Those
like
would
the
be the only 4
gazebo,
locations.
the gazebo there, the
Correct.
the bocce courts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted to propose, and
of course, any authorization is not only needed by the town, so it's not a blanket authorization for anyone to go in and be allowed to consume alcohol or bring alcohol. But in order for these events to occur, especially over at Railroad Park, for these larger events and over at the Par 3 golf course, if they're going to be selling alcohol, they would also need the state liquor authority to approve that as well. Correct, Diana?
In the selling.
Yep.
So just keep that in mind. So it does require multiple layers of approvals before it's allowed. Diana did show the notice. Thank you very much.
Yes, and I wanted to make that very clear tonight as well.
Correct.
That's if you're planning on selling it.
If you're planning on if you're planning on selling it, specifically Par 3 and Railroad Park, you would not only need the town's permission to do so,
right,
but you would need the state
York
liquor
State.
Authority's permission to do so. And then for allowing alcohol for private parties at the Downing Park gazebo or the Sparkle Lake Service Building, that would just require the town's authorization, because they would not be selling them there.
Well, if you're selling, you need the SLA,
Right,
and you
correct.
need either a 1-day or you need a 1-day liquor license or
Yeah.
something like 2-day, 3-day, whatever it is. Yeah.
Then all
Right.
are on a case-by-case basis, right,
All
Jim?
on-
Yes,
And by permit only.
Yes,
That's correct.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
makes sense. Anything else?
Well, now that I see your smiling face, I just want to remind the community that we are trying to create a new normal, and we have our wonderful Parks and Rec brochure. So if you want to go ahead and contribute and buy your ads in there, so not only support Parks and Rec, but also to spread love in your business, you can contact Jim for that.
Yes. Do that ASAP. Reach out to me tomorrow.
Very much. All right, so nothing else for Jim. I think we're good right now.
Thank you.
I think
so
it's wonderful.
we will open up the public hearing. If anyone wants to speak on the matter, please come forward. Does anyone want? This is again the public hearing for Chapter 108. Going once, going twice. Sold. All right.
Motion to
No
close.
comment. Well, I'd like to have a conversation.
But should we close the public hearing first?
Yes.
I think we should have a discussion first before we close.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Um,
Look, I've been talking about this for years.
Yeah, and I think it's a great way to celebrate people's lives and treat adults like adults and kids like kids.
okay.
I'm fine with it. Like I said,
Everyone's comfortable?
and we're comfortable.
We're all
Look,
comfortable?
I mean, we're
We
following.
have line dancing.
We're following the proper procedure. You have to come in front of the town clerk to get a town permit in order to do that. And I'm sure we're gonna have to figure out what that application will look like or something like that, right?
She
They already
has
have,
it.
they already have the
So-
application in place.
So and then
We already issue them for some places. These 4 were not places that we could, because in the code it stated you can't have alcohol in a park.
right.
That's what stemmed the issue.
And then you have the overarching SLA that you have to contend with.
If you're selling in,
if
and
you're
you're
selling.
only allowed to sell in the 2 places. You're
That's
only
it.
allowed to sell
Par
in Par 3
and railroad.
Oh, is that right?
and Railroad.
Yep.
Those are the only 2 places where we're allowing alcohol to be sold.
Yep, I'm okay with that. And I also
Okay.
feel that I know the town clerk, and she's not going to let it just kind of fall through. So,
No.
yeah, I think we'll be okay with that.
I think it's a
I
home
think-
run. It's a long time coming.
I agree with you, Councilman Esposito. I do think it's a. I do think it's a long time coming. I think it solves an issue that has been kind of out there for a number of years.
And it has
it
respect-
modernizes it. Yep, it modernizes the code, and it helps us address a longstanding issue within the code that we can now have a clear path forward with, as dictated within it. So,
And we're trusting the community. We're trusting the community to follow the rules and to honor the parks and understand that this is a huge fabric of who we are. And we're permitting us to bring your celebrations outside and to enjoy them. And we're going to trust that they're going to respect the property and that they're going to follow the code, and the rest should be just great.
yep. I mean, I can tell you that I was one of the families who rented the Sparkle Lake service building for my son's birthday, and I was not allowed to bring any beer. So that was just for a family birthday party. And so I understand the impact it has, but it also allows us, to your point, Councilwoman, enjoy the parks, celebrate the
Yes.
parks, and make it a part of our lives. And I think it's a needed improvement within the code.
Yeah,
So,
and trust the community that they're going to abide by a code of proper conduct out there. You know what I
course.
mean? Like, listen, everyone's responsible for themselves. You play like a big boy, you bring your big boy.
of course.
So I'm not doing that. Don't let me find you getting sloppy.
Of course. So that will make a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And if we're ready, we can
Let's
make a
vote.
motion to adopt.
Second.
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 All
Third.
in favor?
Fourth.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion.
We have a motion to adopt.
Okay. Who motioned?
I'll make the motion to adopt. Is there a second?
Second.
I'll choose
Ed
to
second.
it.
Ed's the second.
Ed's the second.
Do I need
All in
ice cream
favor?
permission?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Yay.
Okay. Roll call. We will move to courtesy of the floor. Again, we welcome everyone to courtesy of the floor. You do not need to wait for courtesy of the floor to raise any issues with the town. We have our staff working constantly. If anyone has any issues, they can always contact the supervisor's office, 914-962-5722, extension 200. You can also visit the website to find the contact information for any of our town board members. All of our contact information via phone and email is available. And, of course, anyone can write letters to the town board, and they will be properly delivered. As always, we ask that all comments and remarks are respectful to everybody. There will be a 3-minute time period that the town clerk will hold, and we welcome our first speaker to the podium.
I also want to just highlight what Ed, what Councilman Lackerman pointed out last time. It's great for us to get the feedback as well. Like, you can also send us what you like that we're doing so that we can continue doing that.
Right.
Right.
First speaker. Ms. Siegel.
Hi, good evening, Susan Siegel.
Hi, Susan.
I have a question and a request. Later on in the agenda, you're going to advertise a public hearing on a local law, the solar law. Okay? You had a hearing the last meeting, and you closed that hearing. So I would like to know, one, when you do pass the resolution to advertise it, can you explain what changes you're making? And when, between last week and this week, the board discussed what changes they wanted to make, because there were no other town board meetings, but you obviously have come to some kind of agreement on what you're going to change. Several of the speakers, me included, suggested some changes. I can only hope and wish that some of those were included. Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks, Susan.
Thank you.
Next. Mr. Strauss.
Dan Strauss, 55, still. April 56. I'm going to talk about the trees again. I think it is devastating to the town to cut down thousands of trees to put up solar farms. I think it attacks the fabric of Yorktown. I'm going to also talk about mitigation. Mitigation does not replace thousands of trees. It just puts new trees up. There is a property at the corner of Strawberry and Route 6. I will refer to that again. The used cars are not supposed to be seen on Route 6 when you drive by. They have been visible for 4.5 years. There was supposed to be mitigation so that those cars cannot be seen from Route 6. I'm going to ask you tonight, and I will continue to do so, when is that mitigation going to be enforced? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr.
Thanks.
Strauss.
Thank you.
Next.
I agree with Dan that we can't knock down thousands of trees, but also the whole movement toward clean energy is not for us. It's for the ones that come after us, like Charlie and people like that. So there has to be some balance there. We also have to do something. I mean, people have been talking for the last year about this crazy weather and climate change and all this. Well, there is some people in the United States who want to do something about it, and there are other people who don't want to do anything. I think there has to be a balance, and I'll leave it up to the board to find the balance. But I don't think that we can be against taking down some trees for some solar, or we can be for taking down thousands of trees just to take down thousands of trees. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McMullen. Thank you. Next. You just take your time.
I got to.
Good to see you, Mr. Safone.
All right, listen.
Ed, could
Congratulations.
Just introduce yourself if you
Introduce
could.
yourself for everyone. Introduce yourself for the record.
Oh, I just did.
No, we said Ed.
My name is Ed Safone.
Thank you, sir.
Been here 52 years. And I retired from being the president of the United Taxpayers a year ago. But no one wants to take over. So I can see why. Okay? Now, with the oil companies, that's a nickel off. It meant something before. It went up to $3.71 a gallon.
Mm.
So maybe you could tell them to make it a dime or something, you know?
Do our best.
But it's wintertime. I don't know how people can pay this money for the heating oil. Heating oil. Now, let's call people murderers. Let's call people that murdered. Okay? This is ridiculous. And now with the war going on, civilian people are dying. What is wrong with the world today? Is there a God? Well, he better show up sometime. Okay, now I want to just let you know that on November 12th, 2021, in November, I was wearing a mask and I couldn't breathe. So they called the ambulance, okay? Now, I got a letter from Judge Lagonia and Judge Raniolo. Do not come to work anymore because you've been out a year since 2020. That's wrong, okay? I already took the town to task because of my age discrimination, okay? Now,
excuse me, Ed. We don't generally interrupt, and I don't mean to interrupt you. And this is something, but that's a personnel matter that we would rather discuss with you in closed session rather than have the whole town know about it, so that we could maybe rectify it for you or come to an end to a mean.
Well, you can't rectify it anymore because the guy retired. The guy harassed me for a lot of years. I support him as a Republican, but this is what I have to do. And I have to add some more to it, okay? Now, I get my 3 minutes, so you hear that. I don't know, I can't fight it. Like I said, I already fought it for civil rights down in the city. But they have the wrong date and the wrong year on this. So I don't know when I go back how they could do that. It was November of 2021 when they had to call the ambulance for me. I didn't go. I was afraid to catch COVID again. Going in there. Then we have another guy. Now, over the years, I've not been harassed, but yeah, I've been harassed, okay? Let's start with as a board member of the museum. They abolished the board of volunteers. I was treasurer for 5 years. That's just one. Okay? Another lady, I'm standing there, community day, at the mall, and she says to me, I hope your cancer comes back and you die. You all know who that was. I know you don't. I'm sure. Well, she works for the town now, which really ticked me off. But anyway, I get phone calls from people that are a little mentally disturbed, you know? So that's why I haven't been doing anything. But with $20 million, I spoke the last time, you have, I don't know what you have now, but then you got more money from the state. Listen, don't forget, I was a tax activist, always been that way, to try to get the people to save money, okay? Use some of that money the best way you can, even if you spend it. You spend it and you don't have
Thank
to
you,
use it for
Mr.
nothing
Sapone.
else.
Your 3 minutes are up.
Oh, that was my...
That was your bill.
Oh, that
Thank
was
you,
a quiet
sir.
one. Okay. Good luck to you new guys.
Thank you.
It's good to see you up here. Anyone else for courtesy of the floor?
Yeah.
Courtesy of the floor. Anyone else? Make a motion to close?
Motion to close, courtesy of the floor.
Your second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None?
Nah.
Comments from the board?
John, you hit it right on the mark about balance. And there were a couple of comments that all tie in. There needs to be a balance in the trees and the solar, especially, we shut down our nuclear, which is considered green in Europe, but here it's not. We shut it down. We did not have a good way to replace it. And now, as we are all talking about, our oil prices, our electric prices, our gas prices are through the roof. So, there has to be something there. I'll tell you, my bills for my electric are normally $16 to $18 a month because I just pay the charge because I have solar on my roof. The past two bills have been over $100. So something's happening. Now, granted, my wife's working at home more, so she's using more electricity, but I'm blaming her.
I know, I was going to say, that really
It's all her fault. No.
Carol, I will hold them down for you anytime, so you could...
She beats me on her own. Don't worry. She doesn't need anyone to hold me down. But you're absolutely right. And, even solar is not as good an option as it was because the prices on the delivery have gone up tremendously, and that's where I'm getting hit, I'm sure. So there really needs to be a balance, and I don't think that I don't think it's wrong to say we need to take down some trees here and replant somewhere else because this is where we get the exposure for the solar. I think the changes that we're making in the solar law protect over 80% of the town of Yorktown, is it? So, there's definitely a balance. There's definitely a look at it. There's definitely a way to say, hey, we're going to, try to make the best decisions for Yorktown. But I could tell you it will be a true good decision because no one's going to walk away happy. The people who want the solar aren't going to be happy, and the people who want the trees aren't going to be happy 100%. But we need to find that balance. And, especially, I deal with a lot of the seniors as the liaison for our senior advisory, and people on a fixed income, this is a hit. I'm talking to people in the village who have electric heat, that their bills have tripled.
$1,200.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
When you're on a pension that's delivering maybe $600 or $700, what do you do at that point? Where do you go? It's atrocious. And to add the insult to injury and rub the salt in the wound, you have Con Ed saying, yeah, but we need to raise our rates again.
To pay for our property taxes.
To pay for our property taxes, yeah. So it's man, it's frustrating. It really is. That's why we sent our letter up, and we're trying to get some action here. But it's right now you have, in my opinion, bloated companies like Con Ed that are holding a gun to our head. You know, you have a choice of Con Ed here if you're on that side of the town, or you have a choice of NYSEG if you're on this side of the town. That's not a choice. That's just the way it is. There's no open market, and you know, you can find someone to buy your energy from a little cheaper, but now, okay, we'll just hit you on the delivery charge.
Right, and your bill goes up instead of down.
Right. So, you know, there has to be a way to do it. Personal solar is great, but not everyone has the exposure. It was 5 years before the hurricanes knocked down enough of my trees that they said, oh, you can do solar now. So we need to, you know, we really, really do need to, you know, keep looking at this. And, you know, I hear Dan, I hear your point. I hear Ed's point talking about oil. I hear John's point talking about balance. And, you know, hopefully, you know, in the end of the day, the reason we're elected is to take all of these opinions and try to find the best solution for it. And we will, you know, we will do our best at that. That I could promise.
Just a couple things, Susan. Yeah, we heard you guys, and we want to make this law the best law we can make for the solar, so that you guys know how I feel about it. I mean, I don't have to delve into that, and that's why I wanted to bring that law to the forefront and make it better for the people of the town of Yorktown, so that your neighbors don't have to look down on these things from their porch while they're out there on their Sunday morning having their coffee or their afternoon lunch or whatever the case may be. So we're going to we just want to take another look at it, and we've taken the input that you folks had, and we want to make this law right. We don't want to go into it haphazardly. Dan, and as far as the corner of, you're 100% right with the trees. You know, with regard to mitigation is not replacement per se. With the corner of East Main Street and Strawberry Road, or Route 6 and Strawberry Road, I should say, that was all part of a site plan, and John Tegeter's here. Could you step up and just speak to that briefly, if you don't mind? I'm sorry to put you on the spot like this, but you might.
I was trying to give you the warning eyes, John. I knew it was coming.
Just need 10 more seconds, I would have been right up that.
Yeah, I know you would.
I was watching.
Right.
I was watching you
but
get
you know
ready.
what?
Right.
If you go down that ramp, we would have caught you anyway.
Yeah,
so it's okay.
Too many switchbacks. We're speaking to the Hilltop.
The Hilltop.
Yeah. Is that and you went through that site plan, correct, John?
That's right.
Okay. So just if you could explain to the public the enforcement mechanism on the site plan.
The enforcement mechanism. Okay. So my recollection, and if you think about it, at the time that the trees were removed, when the fellow was redoing his site plan and his site, the tree mitigation required under that law probably would not have required under the law mitigation, because now that the trees are gone, you see something. It probably would not have recommended fencing and some low shrubs, which was put there. So I don't think it was mitigation related to the tree removals. What I think it was that the board recognized that they did not think that seeing the cars and seeing a car lot and selling cars from that lot was necessarily the most attractive thing that you might see. So they wanted to soften that and put up some intermittent fencing that was about 30 to 36 inches high, as I recall, with a couple of shrubs between these intermittent sections of fence. The idea being that you would hide the lower part of the automobiles, and you could see over across and see something, but not all, and that it would have been softened. That was the intent, as I recall. If, for instance, the fence has fallen down or some of the bushes have not survived, the enforcement action would be to send an enforcement someone with enforcement authority under the code, and there's a couple of choices in that regard, to
Replacement.
give the guy a notice of violation and possibly in order to remedy the site plan deficiency, because it is enforceable under the site plan. Wouldn't be enforceable under the tree law, because I don't recall that, and I don't believe it was done under that law as some sort of mitigation, as I think Mr. Strauss was kind of relating. I think he's correct that there's something there that may not have gone according to the site plan, but not under the tree law, certainly under the site plan, I think.
Right. And as I actually had taken a ride by there, I go by there all the time, but I actually took note of the way the trees are placed down towards East Main Street, the extension there. And there are a number of them, and they were placed in a certain location so that when you came around the corner or when you came from the old East Main coming from the Old Stone Church, that it would block that back area.
Yes.
To shield that. And also that there was I believe it was an agreement that he would not put any signs on the cars for sale, 1993, only driven to church on Sundays, et cetera, on the front windshields. And
that could be that part I don't recall, but that certainly could be in there.
Which he has abided by. Now he isn't. Just for edification, he is at this point in time trying to get Gulf to come up with a sign so that he can redo that signage. There's certain things he's waiting for so he can do the monument sign with the Welcome to Shrub Oak and so on and so forth, which has kind of...
he was asked to replace the historic, if you want to call it, sign, the old sign, because it had some particular shape that was nice, but Gulf won't do that.
Right. So, unfortunately...
He needs to redo that,
yeah. So they're going to have to be redone also to the new Gulf standard, I guess, and he's going to have to come in and talk with you on that.
That's correct.
So, and that's it. And we do have to come to a balance, John. You're 100% right, and see what we can do.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John. And I just want to finish up with one thing. We talk about mitigation. Mitigation is a mechanism to give relief in a situation that needs relieving. And especially when it comes to property. We have wetlands mitigation, we have the tree mitigation. We have different zoning laws where you could go. The law is supposed to have some flexibility in able to preserve the land rights of the people that own it. So it is also important to keep that in mind, that these mechanisms are in the laws specifically because they're meant to be used. And I sometimes think that people lose sight of that. If it's a wetlands, it doesn't necessarily mean you can't do anything. There has to be a plan and a wetland mitigation plan. So I think that's also a really important factor that sometimes we lose, and I'd like to make sure that that's out there.
Yeah, and as far and once again onto that particular corner there, there is an issue there with the state DOT, who needs to dig out that culvert, but they have to go through so much permitting process there so that the water runs freely through there. There's a 3 or 4 foot culvert that runs underneath of that extension onto East Main Street or onto Strawberry Road, that there is this much where the water can go through.
Yeah.
Some time ago, then Senator Murphy, myself, and Supervisor Grace were there when we had the bad rains, and they were almost ready to go into a gentleman's basement on the East Main Street side. The waters had come back that far where we had to bring trucks in to remove the water so that we could not have an oil spill, basically, because it was starting to fill his basement, which would have turned his tank over. So we were able to get something done, but it's definitely not enough for that particular area. That's why those 3 or 4 houses that are there, pardon me, are sometimes underwater. And it's basically a state issue. State doesn't have any money. That's what you always get. So there is an issue
That's the
right
company
there.
line.
Yes, state has no money.
State has no money. Councilman Esposito.
So Dan, I agree with you. I mean, Mr. Strauss, what was happening was I think we were pacing to a point where we were just going to be a community of solar farms. And I think the changes to the law the tweaks are going to prevent that. And I believe the supervisor has already stated, it's about 80% of the properties in Yorktown would be excluded from having solar farms on them. For me, unfortunately, it's too late, I think, for what's on the table already. It wouldn't be fair to pass something that's retroactive. That's my opinion. We're going to get to that when that comes up. But I do agree with you. And John, I know that there needs to be a balance. The problem is that the need for energy. I mean, we got electric cars, which I'm a big fan of. I'm not quite there yet because they don't get the mileage that I need for a very active lifestyle, and I wish it was like vacation, very active lifestyle. Unfortunately, it's not. So, the need for energy is outpacing, the developmental technology in the production of the renewables. I mean, there's just not enough renewable energy to go around right now. And I think that's where, the kind of the rubber, meets the road, and we have this, conundrum. You cut trees down because trees are, the, arch rival of solar. You can't have both. And that's where we get into the weeds with that, and we get in trouble with it. But we are working on it. It's foremost on the town board's mind, and that's why we took another look at the solar law, and we're hoping this will prevent, overdevelopment of solar farms in our community. So,
Councilwoman Howitt, I'm sorry, were you finished there?
I'm finished. Thank you.
I agree. I completely agree. I think that it's definitely time that we move forward with the cleaner energy. I'm sorry about Indian Point. I don't think that was something that, it ended up being a real detriment to the plan, the master plan. Do I love the idea that they're in places that we're going to be able to see? Absolutely not. But the truth is, it is the newer way, and I think that we need to come up with a way that not only do we come up with cleaner rules around the mitigation and this whole tree fund, but we start to put trees in areas that we could use them that might not be necessarily, in the areas of where they're being removed. Because a lot of people are really stuck on that. They think they have to plant it exactly where it's being taken down. And I think we have other areas of the town that could use some really great trees.
Councilman Esposito?
Yeah, and lastly, going back to the, what's going on in Ukraine, I mean, that's directly related to energy, right? We're not producing enough. We want to move to renewables. I don't feel that renewables are going to get us there right now. They will someday. I pray that they will. But right now they don't. And so what ends up happening is we shut down things without any kind of mitigation plan. And now we're buying, and I don't remember if it's
60,000 barrels.
60,000? I didn't know if it was like, I think a number that I read was $50 million a day or 50,000 barrels a day. I forget what it was, from Russia. No. And Russia, is flush with cash.
58,000.
658,000
barrels a day.
At $109 a barrel.
Please no shouting from the audience.
Either way, we create this. And not only that, we've created this void with no real plan. And I'm not going to get political, but it creates this issue where now, somebody like Russia is flush with cash. A lot of other countries are buying oil from them, and we're in a war that we really don't want to be in. So.
We're putting economic sanctions on them at the same time we're buying.
Yeah, right. you put economic sanctions on them. You charge them. I'm going to keep it simple. You charge them $5 for on their bread, let's say, and they just add the $5 on the barrels that we're buying tomorrow. It ends up coming to us, and we're all here at the local level saying, "How come my bill is so much?" Well, it's a lot of issues.
And no matter how much you look at it.
Anyway, thank you.
They closed Indian Point. That plant could have run for another 2 years.
With no plan.
With no plan.
With no plan to replace it.
Okay, another 2 years we could have had there. All right, and not only did they have to open up one, they had to open up 2 natural gas generating plants to fulfill what that one clean energy plant, no matter how you feel about nukes, and I almost hate to call them that, but the nuclear energy was clean. And they had to start up 2 new natural gas fired plants to support what they closed down. So where was the savings? And that's why we're getting hit with all the extra charges from Con Edison and NYSEG. That's...
And we don't want to make that mistake again. That's why we're looking into that solar law so much.
So just solar law's not there yet. I mean, solar is not there yet.
Yeah.
The renewable energy is not there yet. It's getting there, but it's not there yet. We are still dependent on our natural resources to get us through.
Yeah.
Mr. Strauss, we're going to ask the building inspector and the code enforcer to go look at the gas station to make sure that they're adhering to their site plan approval. Mr. Safone, let's have a conversation privately about your personnel matter. It's just, I understand. I just want to have that privately. I think it's inappropriate to have in public, so let's have that conversation. I just wanted to point out to Mr. Strauss's concerns that he continues to articulate. According to the town assessor, of the 10,803 residential properties in the town of Yorktown, 8,522 are less than 1 acre. So by increasing the threshold to 2 acres, you're preventing 80% of the residential properties in the town of Yorktown, according to the report from the town assessor, from qualifying for large-scale solar. And people in the audience can shake their head all they want. Those are the facts, those are the numbers, and they can go to the assessor's office to look it up. So just important to keep that in mind. So what Councilman Diana has proposed, and I applaud him for doing it, actually prevents 80% of residential properties in the town of Yorktown from large-scale solar. So with that, we will move on to additional business.
Yeah, let's do it.
Personnel, we're going to reappoint Robert Fahey, William Gregory, and Gordon Fine as members of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Advertisements, we'll take a motion.
Luciana should make the motion because she's the liaison there, and if you get rid of Gordon, those meetings are not going to be 12 minutes any longer.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
He's like,
Aye.
Any opposed? Advertisements, we're going to authorize the town clerk to advertise a public hearing to amend Chapter 381.4 entitled Solar Power Generation Systems and Facilities and set a public hearing for March 22nd, 2022. We're going to authorize the town clerk to refer out a proposed local law to consider adding a new chapter entitled the Community Choice Aggregation Energy Program. We're also going to authorize the town clerk to set a public hearing to consider adding a new chapter entitled Community Choice Aggregation Energy Program. We have 2 more resolutions that are closed. Let's see.
One more for the same.
Yep. I just want to get these other ones done first. I'm going to read this in its entirety. Let's see. Whereas the town board has considered the investigative report of Building Inspector Landy concerning the building at 3148 Hearthstone Court, which report found the building to be unsafe and dangerous, and whereas report recommends that the building to be demolished and removed, whereas the building presents a clear and imminent danger to life, safety, and health, and therefore be it resolved the town board adopts the report's recommendations, and be it further resolved the town board determines that the building is dangerous, unsafe, presents an emergency situation under Town Code Section 135-11, and is in immediate need of being secured. And be it further resolved that the building inspector is authorized to immediately cause the building to be secured by way of a chain link or other fencing and lock mechanisms. And be it further resolved that the expenses of such securing shall be a charge against the land on which the building is located under Town Code Section 135-11. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution shall be served by the building inspector in accordance with Town Code Section 135-7. We also have a notice is given that the town board of the town of Yorktown will hold an additional work session meeting on Wednesday, March 16th, 2022 at 6 p.m. at the Town Hall, 363 Underhill Avenue, Yorktown Heights. The town board will immediately vote to move into an executive session to conduct interviews for volunteer boards, committees, and commissions.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll take a motion for all those.
You want to do the last resolution, or?
Sure.
Yeah.
And then finally, we're going to authorize the supervisor to sign an application for the State Municipal Facilities Capital Program, better known as SAM, grant for the John C. Hart Memorial Library. This is a $50,000 grant for network wiring, and elevator upgrades. And this is courtesy of Senator Pete Harkin's office. And this will be sent for consideration. So we have a motion?
So moved.
You have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Monthly reports. We'll accept the Finance Department, Receiver of Taxes, and Town Clerk reports. We'll have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any other business before the board? Nope. Did we answer Susan's question?
I think so.
You didn't say what.
I'm sorry, I'm not asking you. I was asking the board. Thank you very much. Were we asking? Did anyone answer, Ms.
Well,
Siegel?
for the changes in the law?
Yeah.
No, but it's going to be posted, so.
Adam, do you want to, or John Tegeter?
It's going to be posted. The changes are to address the basically how do you deal with pending applications and such.
Okay. Very good. With that, any other business before the board?
No.
Motion to close?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Have a good night, Yorktown. Thank you.
Night, Yorktown.